What are some good ways for a girl to show a guy that you're into him without telling him? If you don't want to tell him, and you're not really that into him. Because if you're not straightforward, there's a pretty good chance he won't get it. If you're just interested, and don't care if he noticed or not, then hint away. But if you want to make sure you know how he feels. Tell him. The amount of women at years later told me they had a crush on in NHS or college was simply infuriating. I thought I was reviled and was just good for quick hookups. No, just the women that I actually probably would have went longer with were giving me signs I simply couldn't read. Send him a bouquet of roses with a note that says, "From your secret admirer, definitely. Not your mom." Or you could casually slip a handwritten love letter into his jacket pocket with a PS that says, "If you're not into it, blame it on the cat. He's been ghostwriting my romantic gestures lately." And if all else fails, just start a rumor that you're starring in the next season of The Bachelorette and see if he takes the bait. Who knows, maybe he'll show up with a bouquet of roses and a PS of his own. There are none. Simple as that. These young men have of being branded a pervert or accused of harassment or whatever. There is simply no good way to tell someone anything without telling them, especially not that you're into them. Be direct. It takes courage, but it's well worth it in the end. Either you get what you want, or you get a heads up early enough to find someone else. And in both cases you get to avoid pining after someone forever and never getting anything. If you know what the guy is into, get him a simple gift. We love simple gifts, especially if those gifts have to do with something we enjoy. Example, my wife knows that Boba Fett is my favorite Star Wars character. For my birthday a few years ago, she bought me a Boba Fett Lego miniature keychain, so I can put it on my work backpack. It was cheap, and it was an awesome show of affection that I hugely appreciate. It's still on my backpack's top zipper. Honestly, just touch. When you hug, make it last. While you hug, tell him you really like being in his arms. When you spend time with him, tell him you enjoy his presence. It makes you happy. You wish you had more time together. Eventually, if he's interested, he will know. But sometimes, men are not the only ones who have to take a risk. You can do it too. Just tell him how you feel about him and ask him how he feels. Ask for help with something that you could easily solve yourself. This can even be something as simple as getting advice on something trivial, like what series to watch or movie music recommendation, or ask his opinion on some topic. It works in two ways. The guy feels good about you and you get some information about him, either to like him more or to discard him. Nothing of this will work if the guy doesn't like you though. By telling him, "We're not all complex like girls are." There is a meme that shows two boxes, one with all kinds of knobs and controls, labeled girls, and an identical box but it just has an on-off switch, labeled guys. It's accurate. If you hint around, it's going to likely go right past him and you'll think he's not interested when in fact he may be. But he simply didn't know you were interested in him. You tell him. Guys aren't actually that bad at telling when a girl is into them. The problem is that the penalty for a false positive thinking she's into you when she's not is way worse than the penalty for a false negative thinking she's not into you when she is. So most non-creepy guys are bad at telling when women are into them because the alternative is to be a creepy guy. There is virtually no societally acceptable way. The dogma is any non-verbal sign of showing you're into him, no matter how odd, divergent from the norm or pronounced it, will be seen as just being nice. Personally, I like it when girls show interest by doing the things to just be nice. Only if they don't reject me or play games with me for taking the bait. A lot of bad advice in here. You don't have to flat out or directly tell a guy that you like him. Just show him you're interested and flirt a little. Text him. Suggest planning doing something together. Touch his arm if he makes you laugh. Stare into his eyes. These are hints. Any dude with a little experience should know they're kind of obvious hints. Laugh or giggle at all his jokes. Try and subtly catch his eye and smile. Do double takes if you hold a door for him. Sound happier to talk to him than others when in a group. But please, subtlety is key here. Don't make any of these incredibly obvious. More so he's walking away from your interactions thinking, I think she likes me. Why wouldn't you just tell him, I never fucking knew when a girl was interested in me. I would have appreciated a girl just being direct. Before I started dating my future wife, I thought she was interested in me because she smiled at me every time I saw her on campus. Then I realized she did that to everybody. Tell him. Don't play games of hints. We guys don't know this game. You like to be with him. Going out, both of you walking in a forest, and all that will just sounds to him like she's being friendly. There is a one chance she likes me. There is nothing between us. Tell him. A girl I really liked once sat there at a house party rubbing my groin with her foot. I was very turned on, but did not get the message. On another occasion she pointedly declared a propose of nothing that she'd really like to go to this ball. I had no one to go with. Still did not compute. Tell him. Just tell him and be obvious about it. Guys don't like playing with hints because we're too afraid that if we misinterpret a hint we can be accused of being a creep towards the girl. Love is not a game. If you truly love that person and think that they are a worthwhile partner, just fucking ask them out. You're gonna need to just tell him. Key obvious hints. Guys are drop obvious hints and slapped and insulted when they act on those hints. So now it's advised to never act on those hints or he'll be labeled all sorts of awful things. He can't take the risk. Just tell him. You're just getting advice from men that are advising you to just say it. But to answer your question, I think an obvious thing you can do is spend more time with them. It's obvious someone likes you if they take time out of their day and spend it with you instead of doing other things. If you can't tell him directly, then continue trying to spend time with him. Go to events with him. Make an effort to get closer to him. I know it's not the right time of year. An example of this would be going to a haunted house together and grabbing his arm. No. We've been conditioned for years that the answer to that feels like she's into me is always no. I'm just reading into things that don't exist. Ignore it and move on. That's the answer. Always. No exceptions. Tell him. Directly. Making date plans. If a girl initiates making plans that are date like dinners just you two, romantic walks, etc., that's a sign she wants to spend time with you or that she likes you. The busier the girl is, the more this matters. My relationship. I'm female and I told him straight out because I gathered he felt the same way too. I like you and want to get to know you. He said the same thing to and done. That's how you do it instead of playing around. Now, when I say hello, Mr. Thompson, and press down on your foot, you smile and nod. Women are the witness protection agent, and men are Homer Simpson in this analogy. HTTPS U2 DQUXW1V8 Hog. C3Ru38696Q6. If you knew how guys operated, I don't think you would be asking this question at all, or at least in a certain way. If you are into us guys, just bloody say so. No need for any unnecessary signals or anything like that. Give him a handy under the table during a business meeting. No, seriously. Just tell him. A moment of disappointment, worst case, is a lot better than the frustration of just following somebody around looking hopeful. Take a magazine or a newspaper or something like that and roll it into a cylindrical form for added stability. Approach the male. Whack him with the magazine to gain his attention. Then just tell him you like him. In my experience as a guy, even if we think she's into us, we're more likely to take the safe path and assume that we're misinterpreting the signals. I recommend being direct if you want to be clear. Just tell him ... Hint dropping is not only stupid, but is very likely to be interpreted the wrong way. Also, as much as girls like confidence from a guy, we guys like confidence from girls too. Touch him when speaking to him. Casually mention you're single. Have a big smile and act excited every time you see him. I know some guys wouldn't, but I would probably get all of these hints. When girls get close and ask the guy something all while managing to breath down their neck. Not the best way, but it's a good poking stick you can use on guys. They will notice this instantly, probably asking you to go out to a happy hour or some sort of mini date lol. Other than that, laughing at all your jokes and finding excuses to be around you more than they need to be. There are none. If no means no, then yes means yes. I honestly feel like we need to teach women this more than we need to teach men. Men usually appreciate clear communications. Last girl just asked me, can I kiss you? Out of the blue. My mind went blank and I just said yeah. Extremely solid communication skills. I'll never forget that amazing move. Just say, I have something to tell you, but I hate communicating directly and love playing games. So guess what I'm thinking until you get it right. Guys love this. D-tap his sister to assert dominance. Just kidding. Just tell them. Tell them ... literally. Just go up to them and be like, bro, I think you're hot, wanna go out. You ladies gotta just tell guys nowadays. With the whole she's just being nice and posting guys looking at you at the gym. Guys are getting more cautious. I'll be so honest with you. Your best option is telling him directly. We are not good at understanding romantic hints. And I'm sure he'll be the same way, right? You're so dreamy on a note. And hand it to him. Stare into his eyes as he reads it. Don't drop the stare. Stay until he responds or flees.